I want to introduce you to my mate Heath, and I want to just say hello to his mum and dad who are sitting at the back of the room here today as well. Welcome them along. But I thought the best way to start is to ask Heath, just can you tell us a little bit about yourself, mate?
My wife and I live in the Hawke's Bay. We've been down here for 8 years now. We used to live up in Auckland, which is where I met Anthony, of course. We decided to leave the big smoke and come and make our life down here for ourselves, to bring up a family. So that's been going really well, actually. So we've got a little house out in the country, and we've brought up 2 daughters. Oldest one, Mia, who's 6. She's at school at the moment, and our little one, Lucy, she's going to be 4 in December. So things have been going along quite nicely for us, living the dream and that, up until back in December of 2010, when the year of 2010, I didn't quite feel right, there was something wrong with me, so I went and saw lots of doctors and people, and eventually I went in for a little bit of surgery on my small intestine, and it was thought to be Crohn's disease, and so they went into the surgery there and had that little bit taken out of me, and it was only after they put that under a microscope that they discovered I had secondary small bowel cancer, and that it was bad, like really bad. They don't say terminal to start with, but the surgeon sort of skipped around the words a bit. But then that's kind of where the journey began for us, in that this cancer thing came along all of a sudden. So I had numerous surgeries back in 2010 over the sort of the December period and right through Christmas. Actually, I had an emergency surgery on Christmas Eve, which was got one of the surgeons into the hospital here, and not probably the best time to be doing surgery. But I came right after all that surgery and did some chemotherapy, and they never said that it would cure me or anything, but I always had a lot of hope with that things would come right, and they have, up until probably the last couple of months. Things have been great for me, actually. I've been back at work and enjoying life, actually. But yeah, so just recently, 3 weeks ago, the oncologist said, look, there's actually nothing else we can do for you. I've been unable to eat since then, so I'm basically going to starve to death, which is kind of strange because I do enjoy eating, and it's started a different page of the journey now, kind of preparing myself for what's coming next. But it's going all right, I just keep, as long as the sun's shining outside and I wake up every morning, it's another day, and another day to enjoy with my family and my wife, and yeah, it'll be all right. I always think, right till the end, it'll be all right. And the hospice down here has been looking after me and keeping all my pain medication under control. So it's not too bad.
Emotional, but Heath is showing me the other medications that he's got to take, and even one of them is the saliva, which you thought maybe they got from rest homes, from the old people. So next time you're in a rest home, just sort of think that dribbling is actually helping somebody else. It's not all a bad thing. But I also were talking to him just the other day, and he said, he's in hospice with his wife, and his wife's giving him a foot rub, and it was great. But his comment was like, I'm just giving her nothing back. But you certainly are, pal. she's a fantastic girl, and you've done so much for your family.
Thank you.
I said something to you along the lines of, hey, what would you think about talking to some people about trauma cover? And your answer was, mate, I'm a walking billboard for this stuff. Can you just tell us what...
It's one of those things now that I've been through it and had the life insurance experience, things that I wasn't really aware of when I took out life insurance. And so whenever I speak to friends or just anyone about my situation, I always say to them, hey, just, have you got life insurance? Are you sorted? In my case, what happened was probably a year before my diagnosis, Marianne and I went to the bank to see if we could get a bit of extra money to build an extension on our house. And so we did all that stuff. We got the house valued. We went down to the bank, and we had some money in the bank. And we said to them, what should we do? Should we use the money we've got in the bank, or should you loan us some more money just to get some advice? And of course they said, you use your own money that you've got put aside for savings. So that's what we did. But then the lady in the bank there, she said, hey, you guys, I see you've got a young daughter and that, have you got life insurance? And we were like, oh, yeah, no, we haven't. It was like, we were gonna do it when we had kids, but we kind of never got around to it. So she said, oh, well, look, she said, I'm shocked that you've got nothing, no cover. She said, it'll just take a few minutes. I'll run you through some figures, and you tell us what you think this might cost. So she did the sort of calculation and then said whatever it was. And it wasn't a lot of money at all, actually. I can't remember what the figure was, but, it was probably like one of those like $11 or something a week or something like that. And she said, well, this will just cover you for maybe like the value of your mortgage, for instance. And we were like, yeah, oh, well, okay, well, let's do it. We'll take that. And so we did. We just Marianne got it for herself, and I got it for me. And I think back to it now, and she ran us through what was involved and what you got for your money. And it was all like, oh yeah, okay, well, as long as, if I get knocked off my bike, then Marianne will get $160,000, I think it was. And I'll be like, oh yeah, that'll be cool. She can pay the mortgage. And then that was as much thought as we gave it. And then it was done. We signed the paperwork, and then off we went. So it was sort of when the whole diagnosis came up. It was one of those things that was like a week later that Marianne kind of got in contact with the bank, and it all came out that we were going to get money for this. And then I found out about trauma cover and how, if you could get paid a little bit of money if you'd had a heart attack or something. But if in my situation you had a terminal illness, that you could actually get all of the money paid all at once. And to be honest, that made me smile. There I was thinking I'm going to die, but then I was like, hey, but I'm going to get some money. This will be cool. Like we can pay the mortgage off and then put some more money in the bank, and then it was just such a load off, actually. But as well, for me, what came about was that I actually already had life insurance that I was unaware of as well, and that was through my employer. When I had got my job, they had said, here we go, we'll offer you this job, and here's what your pay rate was, and that was all I was interested in. It was, how much am I going to get? And then they said, we'll pay you this, and then there's all this other stuff, like health insurance and life insurance and income protection and the things you think, oh, okay, don't really know what they are, but good, how much do I get paid? So the whole thing was then, it was a double whammy. It was like, wow, I've got, through work, I got another 150,000, I think it was, and we combined those two figures together. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. I'm getting money for nothing, and it was one of those things that it took a while for us to get the money because I had to sort of go through my medical records and stuff like that, and there was a point there for a while where they were imming and ahhing because I'd filled a form out wrong. I'd not said something was a disease versus something else, so that was all a bit stressful at the time. But then when the money went in the bank, it was great, to have money in the bank, the mortgage paid off, walking around and having an extra cup of coffee here and going on little holidays and stuff has been absolutely amazing. Then what happens is, as time went on and I've survived longer, I've sort of thought, I hear these radio adverts on TV and they talk about for this amount of money you could be insured for, $400,000, and I was thinking, if I'd insure myself for like $1 million or something, I'd have even more money. But anyway, I've been happy with what we have. So, yeah, and it's a story that I tell people, especially young people. I'm always sort of out there saying, hey, this could happen to you, and not necessarily being in a car accident or being knocked off my bike or something. The fact that you could get a terminal illness, and you'll get money there as well. So, yeah, it's been good. I've been happy.
Some of those photos that are up here, so that's Mary Ann, Heath's lovely wife, and that's Mia up there, isn't it?
Yeah, that was early on.
Some of those photos that are coming up are actually from a trip to Australia that they were able to spend some time together and things.
For me, it's the emotion. It's the emotion of family. That when you're young, before you have kids, you don't think about how life is when you have kids. I think because for me, the absolute peace of mind and knowing that when I leave, that house is our house for good. That house that we built together, and that there's money there so that my wife can look after the kids. And not have to go to work, because that was never our plan for her to go back to work when they were little kids. Just the overwhelming feeling of peace of mind, because I've heard stories of people who don't have it, and I'd hate to be me right now today thinking about money, and I don't think about money now. All I'm thinking about now is just enjoying the time with the kids. And the other thing, over a time that's been a nice backstop for me too, has been the income protection insurance. So in my case, sort of, I've been going to work because I love it, and I've been able to, but knowing that at any point I could stop and still be getting paid some money has been nice too, because it's meant that I've not have to worry about work being a grind or anything, and that, I'm just going to work to, make some money. So,
but I said to Heath the other day, because I've been talking to him quite a lot recently when he's been in hospice and the likes, and I said, mate, if I were in your situation and had been given the limited time that you do, if I was choosing between spending time with Mary Ann and the girls, or talking to a bunch of strangers, I'd certainly choose Mary Ann and the girls. I'd actually choose Mary Ann and the girls over you like any day, not even my wife. But you know what he said to me? He said, no, mate, I need to talk to these strangers. So that to me is really powerful, because for someone to choose that when they've got limited time is very, very giving, and you guys always have always been like that. So I'm going to give you a standing ovation and a hug, mate.